Hello there, everybody. I'm Dr. Williams, and welcome to my Friday Q&A. Today we're going to talk about the gallbladder flush, and on my website and the blog section, you'll see I updated the most read article on my website, and that's about the gallbladder flush. It's really important and very fundamental to natural health. All the great nature cure doctors use the gallbladder flush as a starting point, sometimes the ending point, to repair the body or to jumpstart or to get the system primed. And however, there's more to it than the old-fashioned gallbladder flush, and we understand it better in naturopathic medicine, and really the most important organ is the liver. That's the highest metabolic organ in the body, and the gallbladder flush is an introduction to for the liver to start taking over and cleaning itself. And when the liver is fixed or naturally in a healthy fashion, then the rest of the body starts to get better. However, there's more to it than that as well, because a lot of the diseases that we have now are not just a sluggish gallbladder or a hypometabolic or toxic liver, but a small intestine that is not functioning well. So you hear about leaky gut and there's different things like that. They're very loose descriptive terms that don't actually have any connection or very little connection with what you need to do and how you need to get better. And we'll talk about all those later as different topics. But today we're going to talk about the gallbladder flush and answer your questions while you're doing it. So remember this short disclaimer I have to always make, that these video sessions are for educational purposes only. It doesn't constitute the practice of medicine or naturopathic medicine or oriental medicine or any type of clinical medicine, nor is it designed to provide direct health care to my followers and listeners, and it doesn't create a doctor-patient relationship. So even though I have established with many of you who are listening a doctor-patient relationship in the clinic or long distance, and the type of questions I can answer are more theoretical or directional or guidance. I can't really make any comments on your health status, on this, and also the reminders every time I come in, and that how to do things safely. So if you're doing it on your own, in this case the gallbladder flush, the stones, which is what people are trying to flush out, are stones that they have to be less than a centimeter in size, and they 1 to 2 centimeter stones can be shrunk over time, but with their larger 2 or 3 centimeters, that's going to take 6 months to a year, and they're much harder to shrink, and you should not attempt to flush. So how do you know if you have stones there? You have to have an ultrasound or an x-ray. An x-ray really can see the stones perfectly and distinct, but there's radiation involved in that. So an ultrasound works pretty well, and the radiologist skilled radiologist can definitely on their report put out the number of centimeters, and also if there's more than one. And what are some of the symptoms of gallstones? Well, mostly it's pain, abdominal pain, but that can stays in the center to the right of kind of up under your ribs, but it can also radiate to the mid-back. And interestingly about the gallbladder is that it often is pain in the right shoulder or behind the right shoulder. So not to the front like a tendonitis, but back here and up under here. And sometimes it feels like it's actually in the joint. And in the clinic, if I'm patients that have shoulder pain, right away you think, oh, that could be a strain from throwing the football with their kids too much, or it could be gallbladder. So when you start to examine the shoulder and the motion is good, the mobility is good, and you start poking around, there's a little bit of tightness here, but then you have to go to this area. This is where the gallbladder is. It's up under the ribs, up under here on the right. But that referred pain can go through from the inside and up into there, and it kind of an achy, very uncomfortable pain. And sometimes the belly gets distended, sometimes there's nausea, sometimes vomiting. Usually in the early morning, if the bile is backing up, the skin can start to turn orange in color and yellowish kind of, and the stools can be clay colored. They're not brown or dark brown, but very, very light brown, almost pale, not yellow, but like chalky or something like that. So we in a few minutes, I'm glad you're all here, by the way, because it's a really important subject, and I like sharing the information with you. You know that every Wednesday I teach a 4-hour clinical course for doctors for a college in Los Angeles. Normally, I'm out there teaching a couple times a year, but with COVID, we're not able to go, and they're teaching classes, but they're all on Zoom. So a lot of preparation and a lot of time on Wednesdays, and that's clinical and more detail, lots of studies, and this is more practical in how to do it. So in the preparation, when you read my new blog, it talks about the gallbladder, and I'm going to keep on working on this article and just make it better and better for you all, and so that you really can get help and safely. So there's also tips I've added, like during pregnancy, the liver can be stressed because of filtering for two people, the baby and the mother, and the gallbladder can get overworked. So you certainly don't want to do a gallbladder flush while you're pregnant, or even in the early stages of pregnancy, if you think you're pregnant, and you also want to think about your liver and your gallbladder when you're attempting pregnancy. So try to update your liver health before you get pregnant, and then keep in mind that often I've seen many patients come in and show me what they think are stones. They're really not stones. They're hard, compacted nuggets of fat and oil. So when you drink an olive oil to do the flush, then you get these. You can get stones which are hard, and they will drop to the bottom of the toilet. So that's why you have to have a strainer in there to catch them, and you can't cut them with a knife, and whereas the other ones that look like stones, but they're made from concentrated fat, and they'll float like oil does on in the toilet bowl, and also you can cut them in half with a knife, but you may end up with both, some small stones and some or many of these fatty deposits. So the best thing to do is always be prepared, plan it out, don't just jump into it on a weekend, and follow the instructions that I outline. Take malic acid. Malic acid helps to prepare the body and helps to start dissolving some of those fatty deposits, and add a little apple cider vinegar to that, and that's organic, unfiltered apple juice with a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and the day before you're going to drink a whole gallon of that. So you're going to fast the day before, but on apple juice and apple cider vinegar. Magnesium, particularly magnesium malate, and a couple other forms which I outline in the article. it can also help dissolve those some of those stones and get you ready for the flush. So prepare ahead of time. Flush early in the morning. If you stay in bed late and you might not want to do a gallbladder flush, because it's the activity of the liver and gallbladders in the middle of the night between 11 and 1 and 2. So you really want to be starting to wake up 4 or 5 in the morning when you take the drink that initiates the flush. And then you want to rest afterwards, so don't have any plans that morning. Stay warm, stay covered, and have a hot water bottle or a heating pad next to you to relieve some of the pressure and tension, which you usually will have. It could be pretty strong, but sometimes it's just very mild. And remember now that disease prevention is better than treatment, and so a lifestyle includes healthy diet, good exercise, cleansing a few times a year, liver detoxification, and flushing of your gallbladder is good to have on the calendar. It's good to make those habits. And let's take some questions. So let me see. I see the people who are joining, and I can. I don't see any questions yet from my group. So let me continue. Oh, by the way, acupuncture. I always get a question on acupuncture. Acupuncture is really good to relieve the spasms of and the tension, because the muscles in the diaphragm start grabbing, and the body gets unconsciously uncomfortable. So if you have acupuncture the day before, or a few sessions the week before, or even that morning, late that morning, or even that afternoon of the flush, it's good to have acupuncture. It can tune up the entire system, but the acupuncturist can focus on the liver and gallbladder channels, relieve a lot of the stasis, and so you can pass stool easier later that day, and even later some of those stones may come out. They don't always come out at the same time. So acupuncture can help. All the supplements that I list in my article can help a lot, and you should watch for symptoms that things are going wrong, and very, very severe pain, but it almost never happens unless you have big stone and you're not wise about what you do. And a severe nausea and vomiting, you could get dehydrated. Make sure you have warm water or more juice to drink by your bedside. And if you're having obstruction, your urine gets very dark colored, and as I mentioned, the clay colored stools. And then also a sign that your gallbladder is not working is chronic indigestion and abdominal bloating, just about with any food. So if people have food sensitivity and food allergies, then they know already, or if they have an exam or a test, we can find out which aspect of their immune system and which part of their body is reacting, and which foods they're reacting to, and then they can avoid those. Or they can often tell you, when I eat eggs or when I eat wheat, I have these symptoms. But when sometimes they can't tell, and the allergy tests are inconclusive or negative, but they still say, after I eat, I feel full, or I feel I have indigestion, or I don't feel right, or I have low-grade pain, or my abdomen swells up, I feel things feel like they're not moving. That's often a sign of the trouble with the gallbladder and liver. And again, you may or may not have stones. Don't think that you always will have stones, or everybody has stones. Only 10 or 20% of people have stones. Westerners more so than Asian people. And if you take a look at my article, you'll see that I have some new images, lots of lists, and the top 7 natural medicines. They're called cholagogues, meaning that's a liver and gallbladder, an old-fashioned technical term. and they include barberry and Chinese herboplurum, dandelion, and especially milk thistle or blessed thistle. That's the top or the queen of the herbs for the liver and gallbladder. And then the supplements are taurine, SAMe, and some omega-3 fish oils are also useful, and digestive enzymes are very useful as well for the pancreas. And there are also some Chinese medicines that help to dissolve the stones. So, and those are listed there. And there's one from Egypt, because they had a lot of liver trouble in Egypt, a lot of stones problems there. So they developed a natural product that is available. You can get it on Amazon, called Rovicol, and it's on my list there. And then the kit, the gallbladder flush kit. You need that cold pressed organic olive oil and milk of magnesia, and sometimes I mix the olive oil with heavy whipping cream. It tastes a lot better, but if you're sensitive to dairy, don't use it. Castor oil compress, can be really helpful, not just a heating pad, but a castor oil compress relaxes the liver and promotes the flush. And pretty much I walk you through everything, including going over the safety precautions. Now, I don't have a question.